All right, good morning, everybody. And you should hear me okay with the video should still be playing but muted, and you should be able to hear me now if anybody's around. I am recording this and I will upload it to YouTube. Um, Running some good stuff here, and basically I just wanted to start off with reviewing the daily charts. I put in the file depot as well as posted on the blog and sent an email out with the recording of the green room, and the analysis on that starts at 23 minutes, so you can skip ahead. Moving forward, I'll just start the recording when I do the analysis and then stop it. So it had actually recorded the whole meeting, which was around 60 minutes. Moving forward, I just have the recording of the vital information in there. Also, from now on, each day I will upload a file. It's called December 11th underscore daily levels now, which is basically a screenshot of what you're looking at here on Chartbot. And it's just the daily levels. We may, some requests and so forth come in. I may do a 4 hour as well, but it's just going to be the daily levels there that I work on the afternoon before I do the green room, really setting the levels up, and then putting these notes in as I've done here. If you didn't go through the green room video, then we'll quickly go through the daily charts. But you should see there basically the green room recording you'll have to download, but it will be, I will try to start putting it on YouTube. The issue is the recast is easier. It's just in the room, and then I just link to it, and it basically replays the room, sort of like we had over on SmartPip there. So the thing with the YouTube videos like this, I'll probably put on YouTube. But there may be some stuff like the green room for a while that it just may have to be how it is. So it's a lot of extra work to actually then put it on YouTube. I have to actually watch it through and then record it through. So there's a lot of a lot of stuff there to be doing in the afternoon. I do want to start sending out before the Asian Green Room. I will start sending out daily price action watches, and I sent the first out yesterday on the Euro Yen here on this pair. And a price action watch is typically like a price action warning. I kind of have the theme of like, well, the severe thunderstorms, right? So you get a watch and a warning. A warning's imminent price action signal there. So, those will be on stuff that typically you'll want to take action on within the next 4 hours. And then the watches are just something to look forward through the next day, the next couple sessions. And that's what we had on the Yen. I sent out the price action watch, and it was a daily representation chart. And let me just go ahead and show you. I mean, it looked something like this without the fib. I don't think the fib was on the email or the tweet that I sent out. But in any regard, it was a daily chart. And this is really one of the things I'm going to be talking about this morning. I'll check some pairs out if you guys want, but I'm taking a different approach to trading these days, and I'm telling you, I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. It's a lot more relaxed, and I'm not sweating bullets. So I missed the we'll get in with the euro here, but I missed the pre-London euro trade. Was a little late getting up. Actually, had some issues with MediaBot. Somebody stole his lunch money, so I had to go track them down. You know how it is with these children. So had to work with that. But the euro. Yesterday we had, and I posted another alert yesterday. We'll try to do that after each session is post, daily trades that we sort of look at or take together in the room. We had the pre-London short and the pound long that was posted yesterday on the blog at fxraiders.net. But in terms of the euro today, it said short the 5 and long the intraday. So over in the green room, we talked about, this level, essentially where price is still at, being the short zone. And maybe we would come down, lose some euro strength, and they'd be able to get long in this during London. So here we are now. Let's go into the 4-hour chart on this euro. And I apologize. Chartbot is going to be a little slow throughout the end of the year until we get him an upgrade. He's running decent amount of resources. He's got some other issues, right? Working out with this therapist. So, at any rate, here coming off the 4-hour 21, typically a good short. This was the level. This really right here was in the green room. So it came up, and now it tried the pre-London short that we see. So to really get a fractal view of that, let's go over to the 15-minute chart. And we see now it's London Open. London has just now opened, essentially. And over in the 15-minute chart, you'll see the short. If you were around, this would have been something I would have taken right here. Pretty obvious signal there at 29.60 to try to jam one. So that's a good 30 pips short. You should have gotten out really by now. And now we're going to see if we're going to higher low or not with the with the London session. So no, if you guys are biased long, then well, you may be getting a shot now because theoretically this is the higher low attempt from the Asian move up, right? So if continuation of that, with the pullback in pre-London, and then maybe moving up. So looking at that, really seeing where this settles out. I'm going to be really interested in trades at the next hourly candle. So I'm not saying there's going to be any magic there. I just got a feeling that's going to be closer to some entries I might be interested in. Let's go back to the hourly chart on this. And, we'll be trying to keep a focus more on the longer term, or at least price action stuff. So we can see the price action off of this level. Pretty obvious of where this was going to happen. And now, we're still looking for an intraday long opportunity here on the euro. If you're trying to get short, though, you will get a second chance coming off a lower high from 29.60. So, working with ChartBot here, it's teaching me further patience. But if we just do a fib of this move off of the bottom here, which would essentially be yesterday's move after the pre-London short, we'll see that we've really tested that through 38.2, and then that popped us up. Essentially, so the fib's a little off, but let's just say here, still we've got 29.20 looking to a retest, but if we go up from here, it's looking like we might, I think it's a little early to say what's going to happen here, but we've got to assume we're going to go long here, I think, after pre-line is shortened back to an intraday level of support. This is an hourly chart. So going back in the 15-minute with the same fib drawn here, taking a swill of my coffee. All right. Waiting on ChartBot. Come on. And 15-minute chart. So we have the short here pre-London. We're essentially making a decision here. Plenty of people here are looking at 2-3 minute charts. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. The lowest you'll see me look at now is probably a 5-minute. But essentially, what I want to do here is get a signal. For a long, but I'd rather have it a deeper retracement. I'd rather come down a little bit further. But this is going to be a jam job long attempt early London that could fail. When I say fail, when we get up in here, which will likely be at the time I'm looking to take a trade, so essentially that trade may be short, right? It's going to be price where I come right in here. Maybe we come back up here. And then we're making a decision. That should have been green. But anyway, you get the picture, right? The arrow is pointing the right direction, hopefully. And then the short. So essentially, you get a long opportunity now. Maybe wiggling into a break even there. Depending on what your plan is. I don't think daily-wise you've got enough to really, sit back and lounge too much. I think you should try to get to break even sooner than later today, as early in the session, till we see what kind of action we're going to get here, right? So move to break even sooner than later, earlier in the session. So essentially, that's what I think's happening. We're going to get the higher low here, and then we're going to get either a lower high attempt short with a good, risk to reward ratio, hopefully. And you've got about the same risk to reward profile here, but a little in a jumbly area here for me. So I'd rather see another hour go by and see what kind of action we get. And that's why I'm looking more the 9-10 a.m. London hour here for some decent setups. All right, and so let's wait on ChartBot there. And I'm gonna maybe start taking the mic just a little more frequently, and just talking about a setup here and there, I'm not really sure how I'm going to handle the mic issue during London and New York, or how much or what. I'm really not sure yet, to be honest. I know that the daily agent thing is one thing to get ready for the day, and that's really the driving force anyway. But so we can look at the pound as well here, and this was a great trade on the long, and I believe that was Shanti. I'm not absolutely positive, but I believe Shanti led me to inspect that higher low yesterday for a massive amount of pips. Thank you, Shanti. Let's look at that on the 15-minute chart. We should be able to see that trade yesterday at 60.30, was it? Yeah, here it's actually still lit up here. So it was right here. We had came down, and then I said there was going to be a higher low. That was essentially where everybody, I think Ricky went to take a nap. I went to take a nap and said I was taking the pound. It looked worth it, and then woke up and this thing was up 80 pips. So thank you again, Shanti, for that. Basically, it was just essentially, what do you think about the pound? And it got me looking at it a little bit more on an intraday level. And, I was like, wow, this little price action signal here, retest of current session. I mean, fairly obvious, good risk profile. Ended up being a great risk profile, really. But, today, I think we're essentially going to have to get higher for a short or lower for a long. As you see here, we're in. I've got this intraday charts driving price action now. You're trying that long just a few minutes ago. Same thing with the euro, and I'm sure that's looking like some dollar index weakness just by looking at these two pairs. So, decision to be made. Well, I'll be anything with the pound I will put up on the charts as I did yesterday, and have stuff drawn up or entries that I'm in or looking to get in, even when not on the microphone. And maybe try to update the notes area and streamline it a little more as well. All right. So let's go ahead and look over at the. Let's go ahead and look at the. Let me see here. I'm going to look at oil or the euro yen first. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and look at the oil chart first. All right. And if you looked at the Asian Green Room video from yesterday, indicated there was not a lot of price action entries daily. I mean, but we're at support. I mean, how obvious is this on the daily chart to everybody? We're at a green zone. And we've been in this area for a long time now. We've had a lot of issues here. 85, essentially, right? So, I said really the thing to do fractally was try to look for a fade back into the 86, 87, 88 range on oil using the intraday charts around this time. I said during the Asia or London session. So let's see if we're going to get that set up. Because we have to assume this is going to hold. And this is going to give a good long. And we are getting that. And here we are. We get our first 4-hour price action signal right here. So if you'd been checking this out during Asia, you might have gotten long on that. Let's go ahead and look at the hourly chart as well. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Nice to see you in the room. The hourly chart, see here is indicating we might get a better opportunity here. Maybe it'll be a 10 a.m. London time. But I just want to get kind of break even long on this and let it ride. I'm not really looking to hold this longer than like lunchtime New York, right? So, the hourly chart indicates we're at the hour 21, and some people are going to try to short here. It looks a little bit like that in price action. Let's look at the 15-minute chart and just pick an optimal place to maybe dive into oil. I'm, definitely trying to get into something here, but I'm going to need a decent looking chart on the 15-minute. Clear, higher, low. No funky stuff here. Okay, so we get a 50%. I'd rather see it really come down further. 85-30 or 50 really. But I mean, in terms of the 4-hour, we may very well look back at lunchtime in New York and say, well, if that was the signal to go long, that was it. That was on the 4-hour, and that was oil, right? So I'm going to play for the more conservative fib entry of that 4 hour. So let me go back to that and try to be as clear as possible on what I'm looking for here. All right. Just waiting on Chartbot here. He's all right. So here, this, your risk to reward, profile. Basically, you got your stop underneath here, underneath these lows. Let me just draw a dark olive green line. Actually, I'm going to plot that line. So there it is. I thought it was it. Okay, there it is. Okay. So essentially, this could be, your signal go long. There's your, your distance of your risk. And you're talking, getting up to at least, I would say, these levels. You're talking 86 and a half, I would say minimum. And I think that could be occurring right now. I'm going to wait on a fib essentially of this. So I'm going to work on a little dip down, shorter term chart, and bam, take this thing up 100, 200 pips. Hopefully we will get on that. So that's the plan on that. Otherwise, on the short side would be around the same zone as the target. Either, you're trying here. Essentially, this is some intraday scalp short, potential. But the better opportunity being up here in the target area around 86.5, first target. All right, so I'm going to look at one more pair here for this early London session. And it'll be the Euro Yen. See if we can get in on this price action. Or this is going to hold out another day on us, or what's going to happen, right? So. All right. So yeah, I sent this out yesterday with pretty clear chart there. It's a resolution and everything, and just indicating that is this going to be the price action signal that I've been mentioning last week that I thought was going to happen around Wednesday. What's Tuesday, right? So what's going to happen here? I mentioned that the most conservative entry for this higher low on the daily price action, not the biggest wick, but still, nevertheless, it's a price action, higher low. And people are going to be trying to long this. So what was the most conservative entry I mentioned was wait for a pullback during Asia and hopefully in London try to get long on this. Well, we haven't really pulled back. So let's take the fractal view and go into the 4 hour first on the Euro Yen here. Remember, I'm trying to get long on this, and people are trying to short it here. So I talked about essentially that, this was the first place to go short too. So the conservative entry was waiting on the pullback closer to the green zone here on the 4 hour and then go long. So it's looking like now people are trying to short that 38.2. So if you're a scalper, just an intraday trader, you may very well have shorted this a few minutes ago. All right, so let's go into the hourly chart and just try to get a better sense of where we can expect the long on the Euro Yen. All right, so we're essentially back at some support on the minor support. So let's just do a little fib here, and I'd like to try to get as close as to the 61.8 retracement as possible for a long. So I feel pretty comfortable that I can get break even on this because I'm not 100% convinced this is the day it's going to head up, or it might do another price action candle close today and then head up tomorrow. So I'd rather try to mitigate risk. Excuse me. Mitigate risk to around here, right? So we're getting in 106.30, and you're risking 35 pips potentially, but you're looking at a trade that could head all the way back up to these daily highs and retest the 107.5 area. So even really slack 108, maybe looking for a lower high of that. So 107, 60 to 70, I think I have as a target on the daily charts. But essentially waiting on this, and then mid-London, are we going to get a signal here on the 15-minute chart, pin bar, maybe an hourly, or maybe just simply we'll get some green at the area I'm looking for, and I will take the trade, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. If it loses, it loses. These are high probability setups here. So let's just go into the 15-minute and just peer and see if we can make anything out of it. Typically, people are saying the opposite of that, right? So anyway, looking for something convincing, price to come down and get something convincing in our zone here. maybe right above the green zone. Anything closer or rather further into the green zone is going to mitigate the risk on the daily long further. So short now for the bears, you're either shorting it, right? I mean, you got a signal here pretty much, or you're waiting. Go back to the hourly chart for the bears. If we bounce here and then we might have another well, actually that's not as easy to see as I'd hoped, but really a lower high around 106.60 again, or 65 rather, with not a lot of pips, but essentially this going up and not breaking and then jamming a break even short. I think that's an opportunity you could try as well, because I really would rather take the daily trade off of a deeper retracement on this particular one. That's just the way I'm feeling it. I'm not saying that you couldn't have just taken it in Asia. And there's times I'll just do that, right? I'll just take a good price action daily signal. I just didn't feel. I feel like this is a good signal, but I feel like it might hang around before jumping up. It might be another day out before we're heading back up to these levels on the daily. Let me get rid of this fib. So that's why I'm trying to be a little more conservative on the entry. So I think the first is a short this morning because it hasn't really hit that level yet for all the longs, and I think we're going to get along. But not to say again, and I can't stress it enough, that a real pure price action daily trader would have simply just taken this trade, put the stop beneath here, and maybe not even been to the charts all day today, came back and looked to take profit up here at the red zone, right? So, really trying to get a good sense of overall the price action daily setups for our longer term stuff, and then fractally look at that around time of day like right now and keeping that in perspective, because I think that is the most important thing. I know for me it was, and really still is keeping perspective. Losing perspective, a lot of times you lose yourself, your thought processes, and then if you're trading on the shorter term, really you've lost the money too. So be careful there. But so yeah, I think we're going to get that. I'll be updating the room, as I watch this trade develop. But put your alarms there around the 38.2 to 61.8% retracement of yesterday's up move on the euro yen. And when you get that alarm, look for a 15-minute hourly signal, and I would just take it, right? So, essentially we've got plans here on the euro, pound, euro yen, and oil. Now, later on this morning, I will look at gold as well, and possibly anything else that creeps up. Let's take a look at the dollar index. Now, I should be doing this in reverse order, right? Should be looking at the dollar index first and so forth, but well, that's just the way it is today. And I'm not sure the dollar index is going to tell us any more, or it's going to be, the same thing, just the opposite, right? So I'll take a quick look at it, and then I'll try to focus more on it in the future first, rather than on the tail side. All right. Talked about here in the daily video yesterday for earlier today. Depends where you live. Anyway, that this was red. We're going to come back down, and essentially this 80-30 zone was a sort of pivot on the dollar index. That's how I see this area right here. Now I've got a little bit of green zone here. It's a little bit above this one, and it's essentially it's almost like a pivot. Now, if I was to turn the weekly pivots on, there very well may be a pivot there. I don't know, but I'm not going to turn them on right now. I'm going to stay away from those pivots this week. I'm really doing that. If you guys haven't noticed, I haven't brought up my intraday setup on ChartBot at all this week, and I've looked at it on some other screens, but this is the kind of trading that I'm moving more into, and I'm really liking it. So anyway, the dollar index really at a pivot area. You're going to need some intraday direction, similar to what I'm looking for on the pound. But essentially, as we're talking about, the euro could be getting long now, and trying to head up. We had the pre-London short. Maybe we're trying to continue Asia. Well, this is potentially trying to continue, as well, the same direction short. There's just a lot of stuff in here. Until we get a convincible, bearish, bullish engulfer, price action, some substantial news to move the market and so forth, then it'll be a little more tighter on taking profit with the rest of the stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to spend much time on that since I've spent a decent amount of time on the other things. If there's any other pairs you guys want to look at, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do some other things, but I'm going to also be watching these four charts, especially looking for this oil. So I will put some notices in the room if I'm looking to get into anything. And then, I talked about later on this morning, review some stuff that we've talked about, and then also look for gold to see what it's going to do. I know yesterday we had an intraday long on that, and it kind of fizzled out. And I've got price above 1711 bullish, and price essentially is a little bit below that. So if you look at the Asian Green Room video, you'll see that the first was a sort of a short here. Let's just look at gold now, since I've already started talking about it, eh? All right, 1 second. All right. Well, and we see here, big level, daily charts, price action, signal Friday to go long. But it was NFP, so things are a little sketchy there on Sunday trying to mess with this. Let's go into the 4-hour chart. And as we go down, we should start be able to see what happened yesterday fairly clear. Okay. So yeah, we're coming off of this, and essentially, this is sort of getting condensed as well. We had a lot of NFP, a lot of good volatility, and then really, that's why I'd put 1711 was sort of a level. But really, I mean, it's a glob. There's a blob of price here that essentially needs to break. I'm biased long on this. I'd like to see a Fibonacci pullback. I talked about that in the video, I believe. To the choice level, I'm always talking about certain levels here in the 17, and a few of those that we're close to are 1705 and 1711. So interestingly enough, our first fib pullback is around that first one. So price as the New York morning comes in, and let me try to draw this out. And this may happen. Okay, nothing's a definite in this game, but maybe as the New York morning, maybe we just kind of push down on this. And maybe between 7:30 and 8:30 in New York, we get some type of long signal here. Boy, that is ugly. If you get my drift here, we get some support here. There is support here, but, really we hold and show we're holding support there. And try to jam in a daily bread gold trade, which is between 50 and 80 pips typically, 50 to 75 pips on a daily gold bread trade, and they typically happen almost every day of the week. So that's kind of what I'm looking like as far as first option there on gold to get long, right? And getting short here, I would need really to bounce here and then short around 17.15. But I'm really not looking for that today, so I'm not really sure I want to short gold today. I think I'd rather long it, but got to talk for the Bulls and the Bears, right? It's always good to know your enemy, right? Rage Against the Machine said. Alrighty, well that's going to be it. I'll jump on the mic here periodically. I'm going to be turning the news back on this morning. News-wise, 5 a.m. Eastern, we have the European Zoo. USD trade balance at 8:30, and then wholesale inventory. So not a whole lot of news coming out in the European session for any extended volatility there. So keep close to your intraday chart if you're trying to make pips just in this session. And I would say your best bets were those pre-London shorts and then in the long now. For example, on the pound that you're getting. So hopefully you guys have tried to get long early London, and we're going to see if we don't get enough of retracement on the euro yen, especially. I really I don't want to miss this, but I do want to get a better pullback set up. So I think that's been pretty clear. I did record this, so I will mess around with it and see how big the file became, and when I encoded to MPEG 4. And I'm going to go ahead and get off the mic now. And thank you guys. I'll talk to you later.